Hello everyone and welcome to The Jump. Happy Friday. It's great to have your company, Andrew Gaze and Lanard Copeland, with me to unpack all things hoops. And there was a throwdown last night. You called that game.
I did, and it was an interesting one because it went back and forward. The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix playing for their season.
Yep.
Their season was on the line, and for most part there was a lot of good things that they did, but in that last quarter they gave up a reasonable margin at three-quarter time and unfortunately couldn't get over the line.
Does that mean they're done? They're done now?
No, they're done. They
no playoffs for Southeast.
Put a fork in them. They are cooked and gone.
All right, we will chat to United star Jack White shortly, but let's kick things off, of course, with the Jump Starters. Thanks to DoorDash, your delivery MVP, the official delivery partner of the NBL. And we're talking about Southeast Melbourne Phoenix and putting a fork in them. Well, the Lakers are also cooked. They're done. Can we stop talking about them now? Because the Phoenix Suns put a nail in their coffin. They've been eliminated from the play-in contention. And I think the fallout is just going to continue from here, isn't it, Gaze?
I'd be a little bit more embarrassed if I was a player and we didn't even make the play-in with all those superstars on the team, Gaze. It's just not right, man.
Well, the thing about it, when you're watching their games, probably over the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's almost like they've got a sense of relief that it's finally over. It's almost like that they were playing where they didn't want to be involved in those playing games. They don't look, there's no unison amongst what they're doing. They're not playing well together, and it just looks like a real ugly set of circumstances. And they're going to have to do a lot of thinking about how in which they come together, because I don't know if you saw the interview with Magic Johnson suggesting that they're going to bring the 3 stars back and get another run at it with a bit better support cast around them. Now, to me, that formula didn't work, and I think they need to make some changes.
Well, you're speaking of Magic Johnson. This is what he had to say.
It's not all on Frank Vogel. We know he's going to get fired. We know that. If the players don't say, I got to get better next season, because Stephen A., they coming back with the same team, not the same 9 role players, right, but the core 3 is probably going to have to come back, because you can't attach a first-round pick trying to trade Westbrook. You just can't do that, because now we don't have any more first-round picks. So they're going to have to say, you know what, we got to work this thing out. And Russell's got to look up and say, the last 3 weeks I've been playing pretty good. You got to play like that going into next season.
I mean, the writing is on the wall for Frank Vogel. So who takes over? Does anyone want to take over this roster?
That's just not right, though. Listen, I've been in both seats, a player and a coach. When you're a player, a professional player, you know it's your job to go out and play hard and win. You can't put this all on Frank Vogel. He's there because LeBron picked those other players to join him. It didn't work. Don't fire the coach. Get rid of some of those.
But he has to sign off on that, doesn't he, though?
Well, not really. Not at that professional level. I think LeBron's the man who makes the decisions, and we all know that. He brought in those 2 duds. I'm calling them now. They're duds. He brought them in. They didn't work. Let's fire LeBron.
Calling Russell Westbrook a dud.
He played like a
you
dud.
just said let's fire LeBron.
Let's fire LeBron. Let's get rid of LeBron. Why not? That's my big call of the week.
Wouldn't have thought so.
He's come early with a big call, but no, I don't think that's going to happen. And I agree with you. Frank Vogel, unfortunately, is going to be the fall guy. You heard it from Magic. It's just the reality.
What did he do wrong? What did he do wrong?
Well, for whatever reason, he is going to be held accountable for not being able to bring those guys together. Now, I'm not saying that's right, because I don't know who could, when you've got these big names coming together, trying to get their own and contribute, and changing the coach. Maybe a different voice comes in and brings together.
So who is that voice?
Well, it could be a number of people. When you think of profile coaching positions, this is probably the most high profile you could get. And when you win there, Frank Vogel, let's be honest, he won a championship a couple of seasons ago, so he knows what he's doing. But that is a real tough task. And for me, when you think of those coaches on the outside that they might be looking at, one that we all know because he's coached the national team, coached here in Australia, and we very much consider him an Australian, albeit that he is an American citizen, is the great Brett Brown, who coached Philadelphia. And when you talk about a guy that's had experience dealing with these huge egos, he had to deal with Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. He had to deal with that stuff in Philadelphia. Got very, very close. if it's not for a ball that bounces 6 times on a rim and falls in, he may have a championship ring, such as what he was able to do there at Philadelphia. You know, remember that Kawhi Leonard shot that bounced? If that misses, it might be a whole different set of circumstances.
Do you think he's interested?
I don't know anyone that's a coach that's been there that would not be interested in the Lakers job, but it would take some real negotiating skills to bring those egos together.
Yeah.
And a
What
lot
coach
of this
said,
right here. You see that big smile on Brett Brown's face? If you want to keep that smile on his face, keep him away from LA. He don't want to deal with those egos, man. I'm telling you now. That's a hard job to do.
All right, that was the Jump Starters thanks to DoorDash, and let's hope we never have to speak about the Lakers again, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's still plenty more to come from that fallout. Our special guest today is NBA champion and 2-time All-Star Sean Elliott, and Gazy and Copes caught up with him a little earlier.
Hey, Coach, so when it comes to delivering superstar guests, you have let the team down significantly throughout the course of this program.
What?
I today are delivering a 2-time All-Star, a NBA champion, and a former teammate. Well, I call him a teammate.
You didn't get it.
That's it. Well,
You were the water boy. He played, okay? Come on, man.
That's true, but I was there and sharing the part of it and making sure that my man Sean Elliott, who was a part of that 1999 championship-winning team with the San Antonio Spurs, and he's a superstar. He does all the commentary now, the colour commentary on the local network over there in San Antonio. He's been kind enough to join us. Sean, my friend, it is great to see you.
Gazy, I can't believe I'm looking at you, man. Unbelievable. You look great.
And you do too. Hey, listen, we want to pick your brain about what's going on with the San Antonio Spurs. And again, it looks like they're going to play in that play-in game coming up in a week or so's time. But it's been an up and down season, but more importantly, from an Australian perspective, Jock Landale. Talk to us about his impact that he's had on the Spurs this season.
Hey, let me tell you, Andrew, no one knew anything about him coming into this season, and he's been better than advertised. He's been a revelation for us. Every time that he hits the floor, he does something positive. And I got to say, he's one of my favorite players to watch because he's fearless. He can spread the floor. He shoots the 3-ball very well. Every time he gets into the game, he's not passive. He's trying to impact himself or impart himself onto the game. I love the fact that he dunks everything around the rim. He doesn't, there he's laying the ball up, but every time he gets a chance to pull the rim down, he does, and I appreciate that. The guy is aggressive. He's not afraid. He's a typical Aussie, not afraid of any situation, and not afraid to bang it up and mix it up with anybody. And so I just love watching him. So I think he's a great addition to our team, and I really hope that he sticks around for a long time.
Now, Sean, you talk about Australians. Can you tell me about Andrew Gaze as a teammate? Be honest about it, Sean. Come on now.
Hey,
what kind of teammate was he?
He was awesome. He was probably he was the most fun-loving, easiest going guy on the team because everybody was so serious. And we had this Australian guy coming in. We all knew about Andrew Gaze, by the way. Right. We had all heard about him. We all heard about Andrew Gaze, and he was a great teammate. He kept things light. He came to practice. He worked hard every single day. And listen, I'll tell you right now, Andrew, you can't discount what you did because you came to practice every day. You worked hard. And I feel like if Andrew had been in another system, because our system at the time was very slow and plodding. Andrew knows this. We were trying to integrate 2 big guys with Tim Duncan and David Robinson. So we didn't have a lot of movement. But if he had a situation where he had a lot more movement and he was a little bit freer, I think he would have found himself in a situation where he would have played more.
You're very kind, Sean. But speaking of the Spurs and the opportunity that I got to go over there was the legendary Greg Popovich. Now, he wasn't at that legendary stage when right. I was over there, but I think he's 26 seasons now, 73 years of age. How much longer do you see with Coach Pop? Do you believe that he'll be the head coach of the Spurs?
That's a good question, Andrew, because, right now this young team is keeping them young. That's the biggest thing. These guys are so young. They need so much coaching, but they've been fun to watch. And The times that I've spent with Pop after the games this year, he's like, I'm having a blast. I'm just having a great time coaching these guys, win or lose. Because sometimes we've had games where you walk away from the arena and you go, what did I just watch? We just played so poorly, we gave the game away. Or you leave the arena and you go, what did I just watch? We just beat Milwaukee, or we beat the Lakers, or we beat somebody by 20 points. And so these guys are keeping him young. They're keeping his juices flowing. He's having a great time developing them. And honestly, when you watch this team this year and you watch the growth that we've undergone, I would, I wouldn't speculate as to when Pop's going to retire, but I'm sure he's having so much fun right now that he could go another couple years.
Sean, talking about growth, there's another guy, Brett Brown, who grew under Popovich. Do you think he'll ever coach again in the NBA?
That's a good question. I hope he does. Brett Brown is actually one of my favorite people, one of my favorite coaches of all time. Just a terrific person to be around. But I thought he was dealt a bad hand in Philadelphia. Just to endure all those losses, and then finally, when his young players started to really come around, I don't think they had the maturity level that he needed out of them to really succeed. And so, in that situation, it's always the head coach's fault, and so he had to go. But Brett Brown is innovative, especially on the offensive end of the floor. He's a great motivator, and he's a great guy to be around. So if he gets the chance, I hope he would take it.
Hey, Sean, just on a broader scale, when we see what's happening in the NBA right now, almost weekly we look at the Los Angeles Lakers and try and come to terms with
Why do we talk about the Lakers so much? Come on.
Well, because they're full of superstars and such high expectations, but they've been really poor this season. Is there an explanation as to why that has been the case?
Andrew, when I watched them play this year, first off, at the beginning of the year, I had them as my favorite to win the NBA championship.
Yeah.
Then I saw them late in the season when they came to our place, and they looked like a collection of guys that didn't like each other, plain and simple. You could talk about all the superstar power, but if you don't get along with the guy next to you, you don't respect him, you're not playing for the guy to your right or left, it's not going to work out. And they looked just so out of sorts. I remember after that game here, I walked away and I said, wow, they really are as bad as people are saying. And it was hard for me to imagine that. They were just awful. They didn't cover for each other on the defensive end of the floor. They didn't help each other. It looked like, you had our jerseys, our white jerseys, and then instead of yellow jerseys, you had one green, one blue, one red, one yellow. They didn't look anything like a team.
Well, who do you like for the NBA title?
I like the Phoenix Suns actually right now. I know it's an easy pick because they have the best record in the league, but they've proven that they can win with and without Chris Paul. They remind me of the way our 14 championship team came back after losing the finals the year before, and that team was on a mission to prove that they were a better team. I think that's what Phoenix has been like all year long. They've just been on a mission. They've come out, they've beaten everybody. They've been dominant from start to finish. I just don't know how anybody's going to beat them, especially if they have home court advantage.
And Sean, you cast your mind back because we've got some highlights here of the 99, the 99 title. What are your memories of that run?
Man, it was just I remember the waiting around that we had to do because we won our Western Conference Finals so early, and then we had to wait for the Knicks, I believe, and the Pacers. I can't remember exactly what it was to finish off their series, and so that was just nerve-wracking because we just wanted to get on with it. Andrew, we just wanted to get to playing. I think we had to wait like 10 days between our series before we finally got it going. But it was just a magical run. We beat the Timberwolves in that first round. Beat the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. Swept them in that second round. Then swept the Blazers, and then we went 4-1 in New York. And I can tell you still, Timmy Duncan's still mad to this day that we lost that one game. He felt like we should have swept them too. So it was a fun, dominating performance, and it was just a great time here in San Antonio.
Well, Sean, it's been an absolute delight to have you on our program. Hopefully we can call on you as we, maybe even throughout the playoffs. And if the Spurs can do something special and win a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun as well. But really appreciate your time and thanks for joining us on The Jump.
Hey, Gazy, you hit me up anytime, man.
Wow.
All right, I'll
You
be
hear that,
on
Coach?
for
I
you.
hear it. I hear it.
You're a good
Yeah,
man.
that's right.
You're a good man, Sean. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Sean.
Appreciate you.
A great chat there with Sean Elliott. Well done, guys. You
No.
held the fort without me.
Well, he's a star. He's a star and one of the great human beings that walks this planet. He is a genuine good guy, had incredible experiences playing
He
alongside
loves you,
him.
Gazy.
Well, that's what I deliver.
Oh,
You know,
of course.
just,
It's not a competition, but he also loves Brett Brown, doesn't he?
Well, he does. And I think that Brett is going to find his way back into to the NBA. And that job, we spoke about it just previously, about that job with the Lakers. There's a lot of talk that the New York Knicks job will be coming up. So there's going to be some opportunities for someone. And with his credentials of dealing with those massive egos, which, hey, let's be honest, every team in the NBA has them.
Yes.
These are a little bit bigger than normal.
These are just a little bit more eyeballs, a bit more scrutiny.
Brett deserves another chance, though, because he's done a great job in the NBA, college basketball. So he's one of those guys, one of those good guys that deserves another chance.
All right, watch this space. Still plenty more to come on The Jump. Next, Kane Pittman joins us, as well as Melbourne United star Jack White. Stay with us.
United down 3. Golding. The Creek with 17, has 20. And Barlow, as he's done his entire career, buries a big one. 83 apiece. Tarangi with a hand in the face. Adams had a big fourth quarter. That's as big as it gets. Luala Chul puts the lid on it. From half court. Almost went in. Melbourne United win it 90-88.
A huge game last night. My heart was certainly pumping at the end of that. I was off the couch, nearly woke up the kid. I was cheering so loud, but United get the win and essentially have ended the season of Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. And to help us unpack it all, Kane Pittman from ESPN.com.au is with us. Kane, massive for Melbourne United, but also for Phoenix, season done.
Yeah, Melbourne United keep on rolling, but I do think the story will be Southeast Melbourne. We know they've had a couple of poor losses the last 2 rounds, and unfortunately for them, even though it was a better performance, it was the same things that hurt them in previous games that hurt them last night. Second chance points, 25-4 in favour of United, and there was a couple of offensive rebounds late in this game that were extremely painful for Simon Mitchell and the Phoenix.
Yeah, it was the first and last quarters. The offense of Melbourne United completely got on top, and at three-quarter time, it looked like the Phoenix had a reasonable grasp on the game. And to United's credit, they seem to be able to crank it up. When required, they can really go to another level on the defensive end. And they got their offense cooking as well in that last quarter and come away with a hard-fought win.
Well, we are fortunate enough today to be joined by Melbourne United star in Jack White. Jack, welcome to The Jump.
Thanks for having me on.
Congratulations on the win last night. I mean, just as a team, you really have this great belief that you can come back from anywhere and actually win. Just talk us through what it's like in the inner circle.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing about that is that we just believe in our defense. You know, we have a whole lineup that can really lock down, and we really pride ourselves on that end, and having guys that can really just disrupt any team's offense or any team's offensive weapons. And whenever we're down, we really trust that we're able to get that done and then have that flow into our offense. And, you know, we did a good job of that last night. Obviously, don't want to find ourselves down in those positions, but, you know, fortunate we were able to get it done and come out with a win.
And we saw some clips of Joe Luala-Chul at the end of the game, just expressing his excitement at the win, as he's entitled to. But this rivalry, there's been a bit of toing and froing going on, but does it mean a little something extra now when you're going up against the Phoenix to get a win over them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, every throwdown that's occurred has been at a high level. Obviously, last night's game there was a lot on the line for them and for us. I mean, you know, we come off 2 losses against Illawarra, go to Perth, have a big game there with an opportunity to bounce back and get back on the winners list, and then we're straight back playing an away game at John Cain. They had a really good crowd and great energy and came out with great intent. And we knew it was a big challenge for us to be able to keep it going, especially with these games strung so close together. But yeah, I'm just super proud of the boys for getting the job done and how we came into the game mentally. You could see the excitement and emotion from our whole group getting that job done.
Jack, Lanard, Copeland here. Now, there's been a lot of NBA scouts out here lately. Do you have any aspirations of playing in the NBA? Do you think about that when you're playing, when you're going on the floor?
I mean, it's been a goal of mine since I was a young fella. But in terms of something I'm constantly thinking about, it's not kind of at the forefront of my mind. I'm confident that if I just take care of, winning here at United and playing the right way and just enjoying being back out on the court after being hurt for so long, that stuff will sort of take care of itself. But, I'm loving being here at Melbourne. I'm loving our group, our culture. Everything about the city. It's so good to be close to family and friends again after being away for so long. So I'm just enjoying it and working every day. And if that's something that arises, then, I'll definitely be excited about that.
Jack, your offensive game, we've seen it progress throughout the season. And remembering you were coming back from the Achilles surgery that you did have, and some of the highlights we're seeing there, you put the ball on the floor, you can shoot the outside shot. How has your confidence improved throughout the season coming back from such a serious injury?
Yeah, I think it's continuing to develop. These last few games, I felt a lot better, confidence and aggression-wise out there on the court. And, I feel like for me, I have a great challenge pretty much every night with the matchup I get at the 4 spot. So, I know I've got to come in and be playing at a high level. But yeah, I've been feeling really good lately, and hopefully that can continue to grow as we head into the playoffs. But, all the boys keep telling me just to be aggressive and playoff instincts, don't overthink. Find myself doing that a little bit even last night. But I feel like for the most part, I was pretty good at that and trying to put pressure on Creaky and the other matchups that I had. But yeah, that's something that I'm still definitely trying to get to a better level.
Jack, really appreciate your time joining us on The Jump tonight. It's been great having you on. Best of luck with the rest of the season. We can't wait to see what Melbourne United produce come the playoffs.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Jack White there, Melbourne United star.
Well, you really enjoy seeing him out there.
One of my favourite players, him and Shane Elliott, absolutely love CG.
We can tell, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe we should talk about something else other than Melbourne United, because I could talk about them all show. NBL free agency, we still don't have a set date, Kane, but somewhere around June. But who are the big players that are on the market?
Well, speaking of United, JLA probably out the door, Nat. No, but there are some big names, and Joe Lawala-Chul is going to be one of them. And this is just a few of the local players that are going to be free agents upcoming. And it's interesting because a bunch of these teams now are absolutely preparing for next season. The Phoenix are one of those. And Mitch Creek, we know, was the marquee signing when this franchise first started a couple of seasons ago. So he's on this list. One of the guys that's really interesting is Isaac Humphries, who just unfortunately hasn't been able to stay healthy after an incredible start to NBL 21. And there are a couple of guys on this list that we think maybe have greater goals of getting to the NBA. I guess a question I would have for you guys is, if you look at the two true centres there, whether it's Duop Reith or JLA, is there a player out of those two that you think might suit the NBA system better?
Well, I really like Duop Reith. He's got that size, and he can stretch the floor, as JLA can as well. But you just feel it's more durable, more of an NBA-ready body. But the way in which the NBA is right now, it's just about trying to find the right set of circumstances. They are all capable. Every one of those players, really, when you look at the NBA teams, has the capacity to be on a roster. Some perhaps have more opportunities than others, and some need to be in the right place at the right time in order to get those opportunities. So, yeah, it's tough on the NBL teams now because our talent is so good that you're not only competing with rival NBL teams, you're competing with other places in the world. You know what? If I had Gaz's money, I would buy a new franchise and have all 5 of those guys on the one team.
I tell you what.
That'd be a good chance to get a win. Put a point guard with them, and that'd be pretty tough to beat. There you go.
Now, Kate, we have been intrigued over the last couple of weeks about the import situation at the Perth Wildcats, and John Brown III will not be able to play with them, unfortunately, despite getting that FIBA clearance.
Yeah, the FIBA clearance came through, but it just came through too late. We know the minimum 7-game rule to be eligible for playoffs. That passed last weekend on the 26th of March. So we knew that the Wildcats were always going to apply for the exemption, and it was up to the NBL whether they let that through or not. It would have been a controversial decision. The league told me that there's only been, and people talk about different exemptions, different players. Didi Lozada is one that comes up in terms of next stars. But for this specific example, I'm told that there's been only one situation of a team that applied for an exemption, and it was denied as well. So at this late stage of the season, it's very difficult to let a player come in and be a difference maker on a contender.
Could you imagine the uproar with the rest of the teams if they let this guy play for the Perth Wildcats? And Perth's not playing great basketball right now. You bring him in, then they become the top team, I think, in the league. But, boy, the teams would have been fuming.
No, there's no chance I would have thought they were going to allow that to happen. But the thing is, when you look at their team, and I called their game last night, they need some help.
Yes.
You feel like they're just hanging on in that top four. Now, they've still got time to get things right. And we saw when they went on, what was it, a 6-game win streak on the road. They can play some really good basketball, but he would have fitted in nice. I saw some of the highlights and his versatility, particularly on the defensive end, as his athleticism would have been a great addition. But unfortunately then they've got to figure it out without him.
I think the other teams will be very, very relieved indeed. Kane, love your work. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And of course, you can catch all of Kane's fine work on ESPN.com.au. Still more to come on The Jump. We've got a big call coming your way right after this. You're watching The Jump. Time for the bulk of nutrients. Big call, Coach.
Yes.
What do you got this week?
Well, there's been talk about Kawhi coming back.
Yes.
I think it's time for him to get his butt on the floor.
Ooh.
Paul George has come back from injury. They're playing good basketball. Kawhi, we're giving you all this money. Come on back, bro. It's time for you. You've been on vacation for 2 years.
You
Time to
don't
bring him
rush
back.
him back.
Well,
do
that's
you?
the thing, Coach. So I hear he's paid a lot of money, but he's a very important asset, and you know, they're only going to be in that playing game, and throwing him out there when the prospects of winning the whole thing this year and risking that.
No.
Again, I think you're just not thinking with your head.
Wow.
And just coming up short with your big calls. But that's your second big call. How is it the early in the show saying,
went the early
get
throw.
rid of
Somebody needs to make some
LeBron?
big calls on this show. Somebody.
No, but Kawhi Leonard's a superstar. But to me...
You wouldn't play him? You wouldn't play him?
No, because I don't think you can win the whole lot, and the risk of bringing him back when he hasn't played for 12 months, you might as well just keep him on ice, wait until next season when you've got get to go.
Soft, man.
So
soft.
Copes has had 2 big calls this show.
He has.
Where's yours?
Well, my big call is that his call is silly. That's my big call. Again, it's silly.
Wow.
Fair enough, fair enough. But at least your jacket looks good, Copes.
It does.
New jacket.
Sharp.
Big tick.
Popping.
Absolutely poppin'. Like the show today. Thank you so much for joining us on The Jump. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Stick around on ESPN because right after this NBL action, it's Tassie up against Cairns.